my people take another step black. Take another step black. Don't give me that old slavery crap. I ain't having that. No thank you, Mr. Charlie, to eat that political pie. And take another step black. Yeah. I don't think you hear me. Harry Tubman line, runaway slave express, black flag flying, saying nation in distress. Take another step, take another step black. Ow!
We came here to talk to you, tell y'all people just what to do. We got to pull together. The rain, snow, stormy weather. Hurry, hurry, let's all get down. If you want to still be around, get down. We came here to talk to you, tell y'all people just what to do. We have got to pull together. Rain, snow, stormy weather. Another step black. Hurry, hurry, let's all get down. We want to still be around. We came here to talk to you, tell y'all people just what to do. Let me say, hey.
Black, and my people take another step black.
We have got to pull together, take another step black, another step black. Hurry, hurry, let's get down. We want to still be around. Take another step black.
Take another step black.
Yeah, we have got to pull together.
Take another step.
Rain, snow, stormy weather.
Take another step.
We have to pull together.
Take another step.
Rain, snow, stormy weather.
That could only mean one thing. Yeah. Well, I know Shabaka is coming on tonight at 9, I hope. And so I'm only going to be on here for a minute. I got to test the system. Because lately, it's been messing me up. I'm telling you now. You keep on getting on private mode and I have to come back in later and change the public so y'all can hear it. I mean, come on, man. Why they want to sabotage your brother? But you know, that's how they do it. So yeah, this is yours truly, the Black Ophanum Lion, Black Lightning. Tuesday, September the 23rd, 2025. What's happening, Black America? What's happening, USA? What's happening, the poor and oppressed people of the world? What's up, y'all? Yeah, what's up? Black power. Yours truly, the Black Open of Lion TV in the house. What's up? You ready to do it too? Hey. That's real. Yours truly, you.
If you put the knife in my neck 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. You pull it all the way out, there's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that's below me. And they have to pull a knife out. But they're trying to heal the wound. They won't even admit the knife is there.
Tonight, be talking to y'all about your commanding thief. You know, you're a convicted felon who you voted into the White House, but he was let out with a stipulation that he had to wear ankle monitor in the White House, something like that. I'm not sure, but in the meantime, in between time, let's get to this time.
When civil authorities are deemed unable to function. This means that in the case of elected government,
Tonight, we're going to talk about martial mother jumping law. You know, because it seemed to be the direction that they're trying to hit us in. You know, use all kind of crazy little stipulations to get us there, you know. But they'll make sure that we land there some kind of way, you know, if we're not careful. So I'm just saying we got to watch what we're doing out there, you know. It's almost like they want the protests to pop off, you know, because I've seen a lot of peaceful protests, and then they turn around and say, "Oh, they were violent and they were angry mobs." No, they weren't. No, they weren't.
Like, I'm sorry if I see a black pilot.
I was up close and personal. Sorry about that. I mean, hit that clip. I was looking for something else. What happened to fumble fingers? You know, it's like we done already fought for it, you know, in the civil rights movement. You know, we done already had Bull McConnell and all them good old boys sick the dogs on our people back in the day, you know. That's why Martin Luther King said, it would appear I've brought my people up in a burning house, you know. So never again. But before we head into martial law completely, let's study up on the subject a little bit, you know, before they drag us into something else that we didn't have nothing to do with. You know, that's all I'm saying. Before it gets like that, you know, and before it gets like that, you know, so we better be ready to get like this. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Yes, indeed. Because believe me, their forces, man, they done already put robots and drones out on the street. And you know, Elon Musk with that brain thing that he be doing, he got that Vulcan mind thing that he be doing. Next, they'll be having super soldiers out on the street looking like that. You know what I mean? They said 100 men versus a gorilla. What if it was a gorilla versus 100 brothers? Because that's what it's really kind of coming down to. You know what I'm saying? But in the meantime, in between time, let's find out together some more details.
Martial law is a temporary rule by military authorities of a designated area in time of emergency when civil authorities are deemed unable to.
Don't you just love it when a foreigner tried to explain to you what martial law is? Goodness gracious. Man, if we wasn't confused enough, let her help us.
Zombie dogs and those gross guys with the long tongues started running rampant. Now there's only...
Before we get the okie doke by getting the martial law explained to us by somebody that we would never understand. And then customer service all the time. I ain't joking. But in the meantime, in between time, let me hit this one more time.
It's finally happened. A less than ethical bioresearch company accidentally released the T-virus. It all started with a cough, some difficulty breathing, and pretty soon, tyrants, zombie dogs, and those gross guys with the long tongues started running rampant. Now there's only one way to enforce the quarantine that will save America. Forget social distancing, it's time for martial law. Martial law has been declared numerous times throughout U.S. history, from the Revolutionary War to the 1960s Civil Rights Movement. But what is martial law exactly, and what would it look like in modern life? Martial law is typically declared in times of national emergency, though what exactly constitutes an emergency varies from nation to nation. Once martial law is declared, most civil rights are temporarily suspended, and the U.S. military assumes control of all law enforcement duties, although existing law enforcement is still active and aids in establishing martial law. Because martial law pretty much suspends democracy as we know it, in the United States it has been sparingly used. And even when it has, it's been a very limited scope. If there's one thing country music has taught us, it's that Americans love their freedom, and they don't take kindly to the government infringing on it. Thus, martial law is only declared in the U.S. for the most extreme circumstances, for times when the military is needed to help maintain law and order. Recent incidents of martial law include its enactment after the attack on Pearl Harbor, but even then it was only declared in Hawaii, and only because an imminent invasion was feared. In the U.S., only the president has the power to enact martial law nationally. Each state governor has the right to enact martial law in their own state individually and enforce it with the aid of federal troops as well as the National Guard. Controversially, though, in 2007, President George W. Bush's administration added a provision into a military funding bill that allowed the president to take command of the National Guard units of each state without the governor's consent. Let's say your city ends up on the T-virus menu. One day you're working your 4 full-time jobs while also attending college and still not making rent, and suddenly people start turning into zombies and lickers all around you. The state governor gets on TV and announces he's enacting martial law to enforce a mandatory quarantine. The first thing you'll notice about your new life is that you've got a curfew again, only this one is much more restrictive and better enforced than the one your parents set up while you were in high school. You're not allowed to be out of your house from 8 p.m. to 9 a.m. every single day. The curfew is meant to control the flow of people, and it makes it easier for law enforcement to spot bad actors. During wartime, if you were violating curfew at 2 in the morning, there's a good chance you were an enemy saboteur. Curfews during a viral pandemic, though, can also help limit the spread of the disease. And if the outbreak is severe enough, you might not be allowed out of your home at all, except on specific days or specific times. A highly restricted curfew could, for instance, only allow you to leave your home for 3 hours every third day. Each part of a city could have a different curfew, and thus the spread of the virus would be highly limited, as only one part of the city would be away from home at any given time. In most nations, martial law automatically suspends all of your civil rights and gives the military complete police and judicial power. In the United States, though, Supreme Court decisions have worked to limit the scope of martial law. And even if martial law is declared, citizens still have a right to a civil trial. The arresting authority of military or law enforcement during martial law, however, is not restricted, meaning that you could be arrested and not immediately charged. And that certainly throws the door open to some very scary scenarios, with police and military arresting individuals as they see fit, and is one of the big reasons why martial law is so rarely declared. If a catastrophe is serious enough or lasts long enough, and martial law is necessary for an extended amount of time, along with a curfew, you may need to carry specially assigned movement and travel documents. These will be given to you by the authorities after carefully interrogating your personal life and your needs, as in what you do for a living and what type of non-home medical or specialized care you need. Then the authorities would hand you your documents, which authorize you to either be in violation of curfew or travel outside of established control zones so that you could do things like go to work or get a physical therapist appointment. These documents will typically be very specific about where you're allowed to go and when, helping the authorities to determine if you're in violation of curfew or travel restrictions. During World War II, many Nazi-occupied countries found themselves dealing with German-backed curfews and travel restrictions, necessitating special transit or travel documents. If martial law is declared nationally, you'll need those documents to leave your home city and travel anywhere else, and any foreign travel will have to be approved in advance. To enforce travel and movement restrictions, security checkpoints will be placed throughout your city and strategic areas. If the emergency is bad enough that segregation of the population and tight movement control is necessary, you could even see entire streets closed off and neighborhoods get barricaded. This will be done in order to ensure that there are only a select amount of avenues of travel through a city, which can be all overwatched by a series of security checkpoints. In the United States, elections are protected by the Constitution, and thus martial law cannot stop or impede an election from happening. During the Civil War, despite martial law having been established, there were still two major elections. Having strict travel restrictions, though, could certainly impede the democratic process. Want to learn about some of the craziest laws you might break during martial law? Check out our video, Crazy Laws That Still Exist Around the World. Or perhaps you'd prefer this other video instead. Either way, click one now.
You know what I'm saying? It's getting there. It's getting there, boy. I'm telling you now. It's getting like this. Oh. We're getting there.
Using your emergency broadcast system, announcing the commencement of the annual purge sanctioned by the U.S. government. Weapons of Class 4 and lower have been authorized for use during the purge. All other weapons are restricted. Government officials of ranking 10 have been granted immunity from the purge and shall not be harmed. Commencing at the siren, any and all crime, including murder, will be legal for 12 continuous hours.
Black Joe.
Blessed be our founding fathers. Are restricted. Government officials of ranking 10 have been granted immunity from the purge and shall not be harmed. Commencing at the siren, any and all crime, including murder, will be legal for 12 continuous hours. Police, fire, and emergency medical services will be unavailable until tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. when the purge concludes. Blessed be our new founding fathers and America, a nation reborn. May God be with you all.
that's a hell of an intro. Wish I could use it, but that don't belong to me. I don't own the rights to that one, but that's a good intro for you, brother Joe. What's up? You know, I ain't gonna be here but a minute because Shabaka's supposed to come on tonight at 9. I ain't trying to interrupt nothing. Just thought I'd come on for a minute because I'm still on education mode and what can and will affect us. You know, because they're leaning toward this. Feel free to jump in anytime. They're leaning toward. It looked like getting people ready and comfortable with martial law by having National Guard go wherever there's a high a crime that makes the news, you know, and then forgot about the high crime areas, and then sent National Guard down to Memphis because of an isolated case or two, you know, when they should be able in Mississippi find out who's still lynching brothers down there. And I remember there was a light-skinned dude that got lynched down there, along with the campus student, Brother Reed, what's his name? That got lynched down there, and then a homeless dude that got lynched down there. I think the homeless dude knew too much, and they just got rid of him to make it look good. And I think the other one was like a demonstration. We're going to put him, you know, in front of everybody on the campus, you know. But the other one, now that one was supposed to be hidden. Now that's just my what I think about it. But yeah, I feel like we're edging close to martial law. So I got a few things about martial law.
Over 35 and fat.
Come on in.
You want?
Maybe Shabak could come in for a minute. Any info on martial law, feel free to put it on in here. Give it to the people, because you know I got to squint when I have to read. So They used to tell me on the job, say, you need to get glasses. I said, why would I do that when I can increase the fonts on daggone screen? They have my glasses right there. I mean, for real. But let's get into this martial law while I got a chance.
Needs to be going completely gray, which means
before Shabaka and Shabaka's Black Experience in Hands, hopefully we'll do a simulcast if everybody can watch them out, including me. All right, now let's talk about it.
Right now isn't just another news cycle. And if you think this is going to blow over like previous protests, you need to understand that we've crossed into entirely new territory where the rules have fundamentally changed. And your family's safety depends on how quickly you can adapt to this reality. I'm here to walk you through exactly what's unfolding, why this weekend and June 14th represent potential tipping points that could trigger martial law, and most importantly, what you need to do right now to protect your family when normal systems fail. If you're new here, I create content for people who understand that preparedness isn't paranoia, it's responsibility. So hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because the information I'm sharing today could literally save your life. And I need you to share this video with every family member and friend who still thinks nothing serious is happening because the window for peaceful preparation is closing fast. Let me start by giving you the facts about what's happening right now, because mainstream media either isn't reporting the full scope or they're deliberately downplaying the organized nature of what we're seeing across the country.
This is a rebroadcast of what somebody else has said, so it don't necessarily reflect any views of mine. And feel free to come on in and read the chats, unless it's I can't hear you.
Operation at Large is currently deploying more than 5,000 federal personnel.
You know, I got to go back in later and change the daggone thing to public. It's probably hitting it on private again. I can't believe it did that the other day, but okay, well, at least the people will hear it afterwards, because I will immediately run up in that joint and hit it. Anybody that follow me, I follow them back immediately. Anybody that say anything, I say something back. So if you say Black Power, I'm hitting you black. And throw up some hearts, some stars, and let's see. Of course, hit the Cash App, the benevolent fund, so we can keep it rolling up in this joint. Matter of fact,
And
you
up
ain't
to-
just keep it rolling. I can keep it rolling. I'm talking about we want to really bump it up, you know, get the cameras up in here, get the microphones up in here, and get the guests up in this joint. Black Powerful.
21,000 National Guard troops in a coordinated enforcement operation that represents the largest federal mobilization on American soil.
Gotta put up this disclaimer.
And this isn't just immigration enforcement. This is a fundamental shift where 45% of all FBI agents in the 25 largest field offices are being pulled from counterterrorism and financial crimes to work immigration full-time. And when you see reports of protests in Los Angeles, what they're not telling you is that President Trump has deployed 2,000 National Guard troops and 700 active duty Marines to operate against American citizens in American cities. And Governor Newsom wasn't consulted. He was simply informed after the fact, which represents a complete breakdown of the traditional federal-state relationship that should concern every American regardless.
Did y'all hear that? Let me play it back. Turn it up a little notch too. Because, you know, so I'll be jamming that music up in here. Sometimes I have it too loud when the news
are
comes
being pulled from counterterrorism and financial crimes to work immigration full-time.
Y'all heard that? Wait a minute, hold on, back it up.
An enforcement operation that represents the largest federal
Wait a minute. Tight.
happening right now because mainstream media either isn't reporting the full scope or they're deliberately downplaying the organized nature of what we're seeing across the country. Operation at Large is currently deploying more than 5,000 federal personnel and up to 21,000 National Guard troops in a coordinated enforcement operation that represents the largest federal mobilization on American soil since World War II. And this isn't just immigration enforcement. This is a fundamental shift where 45% of all FBI agents in the 25 largest field offices are being pulled from counterterrorism and financial crimes to work immigration full-time. And when you see reports of protests in Los Angeles, what they're not telling you is that President Trump has deployed 2,000 National Guard troops and 700 active duty Marines to operate against American citizens in American cities. And Governor Newsom wasn't consulted. He was simply informed after the fact, which represents a complete breakdown of the traditional federal-state relationship that should concern every American regardless of political affiliation. But here's what makes this completely different from anything we've seen before. These aren't spontaneous protests anymore. And the evidence shows that groups are paying people up to $1,200 per week to participate in violent demonstrations, which transforms this from grassroots political expression into professional agitation funded by unknown sources.
Antifa.
And reports are coming in showing protesters using live ammunition against federal forces, conducting systematic infrastructure attacks by drilling holes in commercial vehicle tires at truck stops. And foreign religious and political leaders are calling for their estimated 4.5 million followers within the United States to engage in acts of violence during this period of instability. This weekend represents an immediate escalation point, with massive protests planned for Saturday across Chicago, Tampa, New York, Texas, and California. And military sources are indicating they've received unofficial orders suggesting go time across the United States. Means we're looking at potential major confrontations in the next 72 hours. While June 14th still looms as the ultimate flashpoint, with hundreds of No Kings protests scheduled in every single state, while 28 heavy tanks roll through Washington during the president's military parade, creating a perfect storm scenario where any miscalculation could trigger nationwide martial law. Right now, today, every time you step outside your door, you're entering an unprotected area where violence can erupt without warning. And your first priority needs to be going completely gray, which means removing every flag, sticker, political sign, or identifier from your vehicles and property that gives any indication of your beliefs, occupation, or affiliations, because your neighbors might decide you're the enemy based on something as simple as a bumper sticker. And this isn't about hiding your convictions. This is about survival. And I've seen too many videos of children in their cars being attacked by mobs simply because they happen to drive through the wrong area at the wrong time. And when people are being paid to create violence and foreign powers are encouraging domestic attacks, normal rules of civil discourse no longer apply.
You need to understand that the people involved in these operations are specifically looking for confrontation. They're trained in infrastructure sabotage techniques, and they will attack anyone they perceive as opposition without regard for whether you have children in your vehicle. So if you see groups of people gathering anywhere, you stop and turn around immediately. Don't try to drive through protest areas. Don't take alternative routes around them. And absolutely do not attempt to exercise your rights or prove points, because your job is keeping your family safe, not making political statements. School and work become tactical decisions, because while life continues during civil unrest, you need to understand that these groups will burn the city down around you while you're working your 9 to 5. And you can't call your power company to explain that it was too dangerous to go to work, because they'll shut off your lights regardless of the security situation. So make every decision based on threat assessment rather than normal routines. And if your regular routes take you through areas where protests are happening or likely to happen, you need alternative routes planned and practiced right now, because navigation under stress becomes exponentially more difficult when you're trying to figure out directions while avoiding violence. The key principle that's going to keep you alive is avoidance over confrontation. Your vehicle provides protection only if you use it to escape, not if you drive into dangerous situations thinking you could push through, or that people will respect your right to travel. Understanding the path to martial law isn't about conspiracy theories. It's about recognizing the legal mechanisms that are already in place and how quickly they can be activated when conditions deteriorate beyond civilian control capabilities. The president declared a national emergency at the southern border on Inauguration Day, calling it an invasion, and he ordered the Secretary of Defense and Homeland Security to submit reports within 90 days with recommendations on whether to invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807, and that deadline was April 20th. The Insurrection Act allows the president to deploy military forces to put down rebellions within the United States and help local law enforcement deal with domestic violence. Once invoked, the Posse Comitatus Act that normally blocks military involvement in civilian law enforcement gets suspended, which means active duty military can operate against American citizens on American soil with broad authority. The progression from emergency declarations to Insurrection Act to martial law represents a steady escalation of federal power that bypasses normal constitutional protections. We're already seeing elements of this with Marines operating in Los Angeles without state coordination. When martial law gets declared, they suspend all local laws, civil authority, and sometimes local judiciaries, replacing them with temporary military laws and tribunals where the commanding officer has virtually unlimited authority to govern an area. Your constitutional rights effectively get paused, banking systems can be restricted, travel requires military permission, and basic services we take for granted get controlled by military authorities who have broad discretionary power over civilian activities. The immediate impacts on your daily life would include checkpoints, curfews, restricted movement, military control of communications, and the suspension of normal legal protections. While martial law has been imposed at least 68 times in limited areas throughout American history, the modern version would look different because of technology and the current threat environment. The longest period of martial law in United States history was nearly 3 years in Hawaii during World War II. But most implementations range from a few days to a few weeks, depending on how quickly civilian authority can be restored. When normal systems break down, your survival depends on how well you've prepared your resource foundation. And I'm going to walk you through what you actually need versus what people think they need, because there's a big difference between theoretical preparedness and practical survival. Water storage gets talked about.
And with that said, I would think that everybody's time to hit the Cash App. All right now, because I'm bringing y'all I'm giving y'all what you need to know. You know what I mean? Because everybody know that we need to be inspired and militant at all times. But don't forget this. Here we go. We're going to talk about it. Water filtration and purification for one. They start with water. I'm going to start with water.
Constantly, but most folks drastically underestimate their actual needs, since the standard recommendation of 1 gallon per person per day assumes minimal activity and moderate temperatures. During stressful situations, your water requirements increase significantly, So you really need to store at least double the standard recommendation, with multiple purification methods available. Food storage should emphasize calorie density and preparation. Can you guess what's inside this box?
I heard that. You gotta get your food ready. You know what I mean? Otherwise, we will be hungry. Hey, grow your own. That's what I say. You gotta grow your own. Make sure it's non-GMO, the kind that have seeds in it, and you won't be eating nothing radioactive, especially if you grow it yourself. But
Should emphasize calorie density and preparation simplicity, not fancy gourmet meals. While freeze-dried foods are excellent, they're expensive. So focus on canned goods, rice, beans, and pasta that provide substantial calories at reasonable costs and can be prepared with minimal fuel and water. And think beyond just basic nutrition, because comfort foods become psychologically critical during stressful times. Stuff like coffee, chocolate, and familiar snacks can provide enormous morale benefits that might just make the difference between maintaining family cohesion and dealing with emotional breakdowns. Medical supplies require careful consideration of your family's specific needs. While basic first aid supplies are obvious, you also need to think about prescription medications, dental care, and preventive health measures, since medical care becomes limited or unavailable during extended disruptions. So stock extra prescription medications when possible and include
a VCR. Now that's something a lot of people don't have, is a VCR. Now I got a VCR with the old VCR tapes, and I got the I got the Blu-ray. Who got the Blu-ray? Because in time like that, you ain't gonna have no kind of entertainment. Ain't nothing gonna be on, except for maybe the National Broadcasting Network coming to tell you that there is going to be World War III in these areas. Stay tuned. But in the meantime, in between time, get a Blu-ray player. You can get all your favorite movies. You know, you can get all the sporting events. You know, going all the way back. That's why I got the VCR. I got VCR, man, from back when WCW and WWE was having the wars. Now, a lot of people, they would have two VCRs hooked up, whereas they would just have both shows playing at the same time. Me, as soon as the commercial go on, boom, I'm on the other one. Oh, man. But I'm telling you now, I got a lot of good footage in between, you know. I was like, man, they telling on this channel what's getting ready to happen on that channel, so ain't no use in watching that channel. Let's just keep watching this one. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you got to get your medicines and you got to get your water, get your snacks together. I would say grow whatever you need. You know, you can grow it in your house too, you know, especially got nice sunny spots in your house. But let's keep going.
anti-diarrheal meds, allergy medicines, and basic antibiotics that can handle problems when professional medical care isn't accessible. Consider sanitation supplies beyond just basic toilet paper, because soap, sanitizer, feminine hygiene products, and waste disposal materials become critical when normal services are disrupted. Bleach serves multiple purposes, including water purification, surface sanitizing, and waste management. Tools and equipment should emphasize versatility and manual operation, since battery-powered devices fail when batteries die, so hand-cranked or solar-powered alternatives provide long-term reliability. Basic repair tools like duct tape, zip ties, rope, and multi-tools can address a whole bunch of problems you'll probably encounter. Financial preparation means having cash in small denominations, because electronic payment systems represent single points of failure during crisis situations. Credit cards, debit cards, and digital payment systems all depend on functioning networks and power systems that may not be available. So, small bills.
Just in case you didn't hear him, keep some cash on you. And he say small bills because a lot of people ain't gonna have no money to be giving you no change, because money gonna be scarce. You know what I mean? So if you got ones and fives and tens, you good to go. You know, if you got a bunch of 20s, you might lose some money. You know what I mean?
Crucial since making change gets difficult, and $20 bills and smaller provide transaction flexibility. You should store cash in multiple locations so you're not dependent on access to a single hiding place. Your vehicle becomes your lifeline during civil unrest, but it's also a primary target, and the current threats require specific defensive preparations that go way beyond normal emergency preparedness. Protesters are systematically attacking commercial vehicles by drilling holes in tires and cutting valve stems to disrupt supply chains. And they're targeting private vehicles that drive through protest areas by jumping on cars with families inside and attacking drivers they perceive as opposition. Keep fuel tanks topped off whenever possible, not just for range, but because gas stations may close, run out of fuel, or become unsafe during disruptions. Store extra fuel safely at home, following proper safety protocols. But even more importantly,
use electric bikes. If you got them, get them. If you ain't got them, use my affiliate link on here for those walkie bikes. And I wouldn't tell you to use nothing that I wouldn't use. Now, them joints got a whole lot of power, and they got a whole lot of distance on them too. And you can ride that joint all day long. You ain't got to worry about how much battery you got in that joint. But they got one that's a 60 amp. They got another one with the two batteries in it combined. It's like 50 something. And you talking about power off the line? Goodness gracious! And especially get through some protests like that. Shoot, I come through there like a gladiator. What are you talking about?
have multiple route options planned for every destination, and avoid protest areas entirely. Because the key principle is avoidance over confrontation. Current threats require tire repair kits, portable air compressors, and spare tires in good condition, since protesters are targeting tires systematically. You need to learn how to change tires and perform basic repairs before you actually need these skills, because tow trucks just won't be available when you need them. Route planning has to include real-time threat assessment, where you monitor social media, scanner apps, and local news for current protest locations before traveling anywhere. You need primary routes, secondary alternatives, and emergency exit routes for every.
Just like you say, be able to change your own tire, have a spare, you know? And that gets back to changing tire on an electric bike. I had to change the tire and I timed myself. And I actually took my time and everything. And pretty much, I think I was in and out 14 minutes in and out. Could have been faster, but I was taking my time. 14 minutes, flat tire, boom, on and off, back on the road. You know what I mean? Gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I mean?
Destination, practiced regularly, so navigate.
But that's a whole lot easier than waiting on a damn tow truck or try to crank that joint up in the air. And then, you know, you got to use all your might to get these damn lugs off, and goodness gracious, you know, rather than just take two lugs off your tire, you take the tire off, change it into two, put it back in, blow it up with the with the little automatic pump. You know, you push the button and boom, it's up in about 5 seconds. Well, I wouldn't say 5 seconds, but pretty quick. And it kind of cut into my time. Otherwise, it'd been 14 seconds, 14 minutes. It's been more like 10 minutes. You know what I mean? All right. But all I'm saying is be prepared for whatever you got to be prepared for, you know? And say like if you got all this stuff now, you got your water, you got all your supplies and everything, right? Now here come a damn bear coming up in your joint to eat up all your damn provisions. What do you do? I tell you what, mama, come here quick and bring me that shocking stick, you know, because they kind of understand electricity just a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't know how good standing up tall and going, oh, is going to do. He probably laughing his ass off. He probably said, man, I've seen dudes do that all the time. Do they really think that making a bear scared? I don't think so. But I'll tell you what you got to do is hold one of them big old shock sticks up in the air and you shock that steak up in the air, and like you raiding the thunder damn god, and then you spray some bear spray in his face while he's looking up in the air at that. You got the excellent aim with the other hand, but you got to be able, whatever hand you aim good with, that's the hand you got to have your bear spray in. Like you got to have your bear spray. Like if you're right-handed, you got to have the bear spray in your right hand, and you had a shocking stick up in the air in your left hand. And you hold that up in the air as a distraction while you squirt them in the eye with that damn bear spray, and hopefully it works. But if it don't work, at least you tried.
Becomes automatic under stress. Vehicle security modifications include keeping a windshield hammer and seatbelt cutter tool within reach of the driver for situations where your vehicle is trapped or under attack. Consider tinted windows for privacy and protection from thrown objects, run flat tires or tire foam that can get you to safety after tire damage, and fire extinguishers rated for automotive use, since vehicle fires could result from attacks. Emergency vehicle supplies need customization for current threats, including bolt cutters or wire cutters that can help you bypass roadblocks or chained gates if you need unconventional escape routes. Extra water and basic food should be stored in your vehicle beyond your personal emergency kit, because you might need to shelter in your vehicle for extended periods. Alternative transportation methods provide backup options when vehicles aren't viable. Bicycles can navigate areas where cars can't pass. They're quiet,
Wait,
don't
tell them
require
again.
fuel,
Hold it.
and can't
I don't think they heard you. See, that's exactly what I was saying. You don't need no gas. You don't need no damn mechanic. All you need is a good bike to navigate your way through there. And mama, come here quick and bring me that shocking stick. For anybody that want to interrupt your flow of travel, you know, and do them just like you would do the bear. Say, hey, look at my left hand. Squirt. You know, Charleston White on his mother jumping ass and said, we're going to use bear spray. Forget that damn mace. I'm sure bear spray going to work a hell of a lot better, because mace might not work on a bear. So we ain't really worried. I'm not carrying it for nobody but that damn bear. Now, if a person want to catch some in the eyes and find out how tasty it is, because you know how some of them guys, they be like, oh, go ahead and squirt the pepper spray at me, and they be lapping it up like a dog and stuff, like barbarians and stuff. Say, yeah, lap this up. That thing gonna come out like a goddamn on fire hose on your ass. I'm telling you now, if that don't work, mama will come quick and bring me that goddamn going shocking stick. Had to get that out. Now, back to what they were saying about the bike.
Transportation methods provide backup options when vehicles aren't viable.
Wait,
Bicycle
I don't think they heard you.
cutters that can help you bypass roadblocks or chained gates if you need unconventional escape routes. Extra water and basic food should be stored in your vehicle beyond your personal emergency kit, because you might need to shelter in your vehicle for extended periods. Alternative transportation methods provide backup options when vehicles aren't viable. Bicycles can navigate areas where cars can't pass. They're quiet, don't require fuel, and can be carried over obstacles, so include bicycle repair tools and spare parts as part of your mobility planning.
That's all you need.
Walking preparation becomes critical when vehicles aren't an option. This means comfortable, broken-in boots, maps of your local area that don't depend on GPS or electronic devices, and practicing walking distances you might need to cover in emergency situations. Your physical fitness directly impacts your family's survival options when traditional transportation fails. Information warfare is happening right now, and your ability to distinguish...
Don't get me wrong. Part of your survival gear got to be like a 45, 357 Magnum or something like that, or bigger, to stop that damn bear. If he decides to lap up all the bear spray, because they are attracted to it. So like if you miss his eyes and it hits the ground, he gonna smell it and start rolling around in it. Now that gives you a minute to get up out of there, for real. But after that, he looking straight at you like, what in the world? Can I have some more of that, please? And that's when you have the shocking stick, and he was like, man, come on. Now, I know you don't think that little thing will stop me. And that's when he starts charging. And that's when you got to put him down. But you can put them down without putting them down now. It's almost like, you know, you got strategic places where you can shoot the bear and stop him. I would say shoot him in the back leg thigh, you know, in the muscle of the leg, right in the thigh. I bet you that stop his ass, you know. But you don't want to cripple him for life, so I would say probably shoot him in the foot. You know, you shoot him in the foot, that should stop him, you know, unless it goes in between his toes, you know. And boy, I'll tell you, he'd be one lucky mother jumper if it go between the toes. And you be one like, man, can't you get nothing right? Say, damn, why did you just shoot him in the leg like I said at first? Damn, you're gonna try to shoot him in the foot and you ain't even wide up enough to do that. Because he moving too, you know, and he probably can't even hit him in the foot. They're like, hey, he's still moving. They're like, oh shit. You're like, oh man, come on. At least shoot him in the balls. I would have to shoot him in the balls, personally. That's my first shot. See, because that ain't gonna stop nothing. It might neuter him so he don't make no more killer bears like him, but that's all right in this case. You know what I'm saying? Now let's get back to what they were saying.
Truth from manipulation could literally mean the difference.
And I got a few minutes. I got to get up off here because Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced will be starting in 1 hour at 9 o'clock.
Between life and death for your family. The current situation involves multiple layers of deception and organized influence operations designed to maximize chaos and confusion among the American population. Understanding the organized nature of current violence helps you assess threats accurately because this isn't spontaneous civil unrest. We have documented evidence of structured financial support for violent protesters, with payments up to $1,200 per week for participation. When protesters are receiving organized funding, you're dealing with professional agitation rather than grassroots political expression. Primary communication systems will be overwhelmed or deliberately restricted during major civil unrest. Cell phone networks get overloaded when everyone tries to communicate simultaneously, and government authorities may restrict or monitor electronic communications during declared emergencies. So, you need independent communication capabilities that don't depend on commercial infrastructure. Ham radio provides communication that reaches locally with handheld radios and across the country.
That's what we need, y'all. Don't need no daggone something that they can intercept. Need the ham radio. That way you can switch. You can say, go to channel Alpha Centauri, and see, only we know what Alpha Centauri is, what channel that is, because that might, man, out of all them channels they got, you be all day trying to find us. You'd be like 10-4, good buddy, all that kind of stuff going on, you know. On the ham radio, you get people up in Pakistan, you know, talking about, I give you 3 camels for a mule. But that's just my mad. That's how I think about it. I don't know. I've never been over there. But I don't really want to go, because when they say, go back where you came from. Oh, really? So, in other words, you want me to go back to the hood.
Independent communication capabilities that don't depend on commercial infrastructure.
But yeah, ham radio is an excellent idea. Yeah.
When protesters are receiving organized funding, you're dealing with professional agitation.
We never got no organized funding. We pay to get there our own selves. That's why y'all got to hit that Cash App so we can get to the front lines to make sure that these frauds are not infiltrating our people and then blame it on us.
Rather than grassroots political expression, primary communication systems will be overwhelmed or deliberately restricted during major civil unrest. Cell phone networks get overloaded when everyone tries to communicate simultaneously, and government authorities may restrict or monitor electronic communications during declared emergencies. So, you need independent communication capabilities that don't depend on commercial infrastructure. Ham radio provides communication that reaches locally with handheld radios and across the country with more sophisticated equipment. You should get licensed and practice using equipment before emergencies occur, while connecting with local ham radio groups to understand communication protocols and emergency networks. Scanner devices allow monitoring of emergency services communications because police, fire, and emergency medical services often provide real-time information about local conditions that doesn't appear in news reports. Many scanner apps work on smartphones, but dedicated devices provide better reliability and battery life when you need them most. Two-way radios for family communication work when cell phones fail, and FRS or GMRS radios provide several miles of range without requiring licenses for basic use. But you should include extra batteries or rechargeable options, and establish communication schedules and channels with family members ahead of time. Social media monitoring provides early warning of developing situations, but it requires careful evaluation of sources. Mainstream media reporting often downplays violence or mischaracterizes organized attacks as peaceful protests. So multiple source verification becomes essential for accurate threat assessment. Foreign influence operations are actively encouraging violence within the United States through religious and political leaders from hostile nations, calling for their followers within the U.S. to engage in acts of violence during this period of instability. This represents coordinated attacks on American stability orchestrated by foreign powers that you need to recognize and account for in your planning. Create information verification protocols now, where you never act on single source information during crisis situations. Cross-reference everything with at least 2 independent sources, and pay attention to timing, because information releases during crisis situations are often coordinated for maximum psychological impact on the population.
In other words, they give you a lot of false information.
Mental preparation often receives less attention than physical supplies, but psychological resilience determines how effectively you use your preparations. Stress reactions impair decision-making, reduce problem-solving ability, and create destructive conflicts within families and groups when you need unity and clear thinking the most. Your mindset becomes your most critical survival tool, because survival isn't just about gear or technical skills. It's about mental flexibility, reading environments, and making calculated decisions under pressure when everyone around you is panicking or making emotional rather than rational choices. Leadership skills become essential when normal authorities are absent or ineffective, because someone needs to make decisions, coordinate activities, and maintain group cohesion. These skills can be developed through practice in normal situations like family activities, workplace projects, and community involvement, where you learn.
These are the warmest gloves that I've ever put on, and you're not going to believe this.
But you know me, I'm be fast on the draw from here on out. You gotta get the switching equipment. Y'all gotta save me all this fast on the draw stuff, cause man, yeah, I'm tell you, all I need is the equipment. As soon as I see it, I go to my own commercial break, you know. But in the meantime, in between time, y'all know how I be doing it. Oh, yeah. So we do it on the fly, real fly, you know. At least we try. Ha ha, bars, you know. Because ain't nobody going to give it to you right but us. Well, it's some people out there that might give it to you right, but we don't ask nobody. We just ask God, and God say, did you check the amendments and the you know, because a lot of people, they talk about their sovereign rights, but let's just talk about the rights in general, you know, including the Civil Rights Act that I played the other day, you know. So y'all got to keep up, you know what I mean? I ain't trying to play the same thing twice, not even the same music. I'm like, man, we played that last week, you know. So, anyway.
Agreements are resolved and when to change plans. Clear protocols prevent arguments and paralysis when quick decisions could mean the difference between safety and danger for your family. Stress management techniques help maintain effectiveness during prolonged difficult situations, and regular exercise, adequate sleep, and familiar routines provide.
I ain't gonna feed y'all nothing that I'm not gonna feed myself and my family and my team and my crew and my tribe. You know, like my brothers told me a long time ago, my roster brother. They don't give your brother, well, don't give your brother to eat something that you don't want to eat, you know? In other words, if you don't eat pork and you call pork poison, why would you give the poison to him? You know, that's what I'm saying. But at least ask. That's what my other brothers say. Because you never know. Might be starving. But I seen how they did over in I think Iran or Afghanistan, one of them countries. They went over there and they took over. And when they took over, they came out with the white flags. Y'all remember that? Joe, you remember that? You can tell me what it was. You know, they just have to go to the Wave Black machine, but they know what I'm talking about. But they gave those people hams because it was around Christmas. It was around Christmas time, and they gave them hams. This is a Muslim country, and you give them ham, pork. The one thing you know they're not gonna eat unless they starving to death. And then some people like myself, even if I'm starving to death, forget it, I'll turn that starvation into a fast real quick.
Stability during chaos.
See what I did there? I did the fast real quick.
So, include comfort items and stress relief activities in your preparations that help family members cope with uncertainty and fear. Personal defense considerations must balance protection with legal compliance because you need to understand local laws regarding self-defense tools and weapons. But more importantly, training and practice are more valuable than equipment, and knowing when to avoid confrontation rather than engage often determines whether your family survives intact. Civil unrest safety is your responsibility, and you can't assume that law enforcement will be available to protect you because they'll have their hands full with larger problems. So, don't expect sympathy just because you're caught in the middle, even if your kids are with you or you're disabled. Understanding crowd dynamics requires specific strategies for safety, where you get to the edge of crowds to escape rather than trying.
Not going to do, but this is just me. I'm liable to do it. I ain't joking. Faced with a situation where you have a crowd of people around your car, and they will not let you move without running one of their crazy asses over. What you do is you get out of the car, you go up on the roof of the car with a flamethrower, and you clear and you tell whoever's in the car, I don't care if it's a 7-year-old, long as they can reach the pedals. You drive, hopefully you got somebody else in the car that can actually drive. Say, now you drive, I'm gonna clear a path in front of us. So wherever you see flames, drive in that direction. But I can't see the road. Trust me. Drive in the directions you see the flames. I got this because I know this area like the back of my hand, even through the smoke.
Move through the center. Crowds move like liquids flowing around.
Yes, indeed. They'll move out the way real quick. You got to have a couple of flamethrowers because you don't want them trying to say, okay, we're going to double up on the side. Say, yeah, double up on the side if you want to. Say, I got the mama come here quick and bring me that shocking stick in my back pocket just in case I run out of bear spray because the flamethrower is in full effect. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You got to get one of them little ones too. And I like the little Gatling gun. That way, when you run out of flames, you toss that joint to the side and say, aha, then we're going from bad to worse, motherfucker. You say, now, I'm really going to clear a path. And you be like Clint Eastwood in that daggone movie where he flipped that daggone wagon open and he had that Gatling gun in that joint and he started rolling that joint because the Gatling gun, you know, you turn it with a crank. It's like, I'm telling you now, especially if we got a sunroof, we ain't got to worry about it. I'm like, just drive. I got this. I ain't joking. How do you plead? Well, guilty with an explanation, Your Honor. So remember Kyle Rittenhouse? Y'all let him go? Yeah, well, he was a young white dude, and the judge was a damn racist. So what do you expect?
Obstacles and building pressure at constriction points. So position yourself where you can exit easily rather than being trapped in the center, where escape becomes impossible when violence erupts. Network building provides resources beyond individual preparation. And
hold up, play that black, because I got commentary on that. That goes back to the flamethrower theory.
Even if your kids are with you or you're disabled, understanding crowd dynamics requires specific strategies for safety, where you get to the edge of crowds to escape rather than trying to move through the center. Crowds move like liquids, flowing around obstacles and building pressure at constriction points. So position yourself where you can exit easily rather than being trapped in the center, where escape becomes impossible when violence erupts.
Aha. Now, let's get back to what I was saying. If you are in the middle when violence erupts, all that means is they're trapped in there with you, and they must escape by any means necessary. Keep that in mind too, because they're going to try to escape by any means necessary. Believe that. They will mow their whole family down to get away from you, because this nigga got a flamethrower and he's in the daggone sunroof of the car, and his car and not slowing down. You got to get daggone a Humvee. Shout out to my homeboy, Black Panther, and Vegas, Action Jackson with the big war machine. I don't know if you still got that joint, the big black war machine. I don't know if that looked like the type thing would have a daggone machine gun turret up in that joint, up on the back, you know. And you'd be like, yo, you got the back? Say, yeah, I got the back. So you gonna pop up out that daggone sunroof, you damn Skippy. Hell yeah. So what you gonna use? You gonna use the 50 cal? Hell no, man. You know how we do it in the hood. I'm bringing out the 2 Dirty Harrys, the one to take down the Bearwood, you know. So when I fire this joint off, I ain't even gonna aim at nobody specifically. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna aim at that daggone hit that divider over there that they put up to stop the cars from going through. I'm gonna aim at that, and when I bust that shit in half, they gonna be scared in the mug for the next round to be coming off on them. And that's when the flamethrower gonna do its thing. You know what I'm saying? Hey, don't get caught in the middle unless you're ready to do it like that. That's all I'm saying. Unless you do like Machete, when the movie where he jumped up out the sunroof and it was all gangsters around. They all shooting at him, and he started throwing knives at their ass. He started tagging their ass with them knives too. He was good with them knives. He's throwing them knives, you know what I'm saying? He jump up out of there, out the sunroof, throwing them knives, you know, and he working his way around to him with them knives, you know what I mean? Hey, I'm telling you now, do what you got to do, and by any means necessary. And that means lions, tigers, chains, and more. But the police say, oh, but you can only have certain amount of weapons and certain kind of weapons. Say, well, when you get them down to the basement area where the liquid is all over the floor, and you got them wires. And say, well, why you got wires on the floor? So yeah, so got them damn wires hooked up to a daggone car battery too, just waiting on you to say something wrong. I'm gonna tap it. Say what? Say, oh, we're not in the crowd no more. Say, I took your ass home. Say, we took me a couple of y'all with us. You know what I'm saying? All we gotta do is grab them with the flamethrower, aim the flamethrower at them, and then tie the ankle to the back of the war wagon. We can get at least 5 of them, the ankle tied to the back of the war wagon. We ain't gonna drive too fast and drag them, because that's what they do to us. You know what I'm saying? We're a little bit better than that. So we're gonna drive real slow, make them hot, you know. Yeah. I'm gonna turn their ass in too. I'm telling you now. How dare they try to act like they protesters and we the real mother jumping McCoy. We ain't no paid agitators. We the real agitators. And you just happen to agitate the hell out of us when you just happen to be doing that, because see, we ain't getting paid. And see, that's one thing that strike a nerve in all the real revolutionaries, because see, we paying it out, we doing it out of our own pocket. They need to be financing us, but since they ain't, We ain't having it. They ain't the one. And salute to the brothers out there that are doing it, doing the work, you know. And yeah, there's a lot of variations of the Panthers out there, but as long as they're doing the work, that's what matters, you know. So at this point, I'll be like when Malcolm came back from Mecca.
Network building provides resources beyond individual preparation, and connecting with like-minded neighbors, friends, and community members who share your concerns about preparedness allows you to coordinate resources and skills rather than duplicating efforts. Different people bring different capabilities like medical training, mechanical skills, communication abilities, or leadership experience that benefit everyone when properly organized.
That's what I'm
Skill
talking
development.
about. NBPP.org. Right not. Let's do it. Or they can team up with the like-minded people in your own areas and fight for awareness, or at least bring them here so they'll know what time it is. Like power.
It becomes more valuable.
Yeah, but I didn't want to leave nobody out. I don't want to exclude. So I just say, just as long as you got like-minded people with you and you got a team with you, that's what he talking about right there. Different people got different skills, you know. So everybody ain't gonna be trying to shoot the bear in the face with the bear spray, you know what I mean? And everybody ain't built for that. You know, some people gonna take him out at 200 yards. Right, Joe?
Who share your concerns about preparedness allows you to coordinate resources and skills rather than duplicating efforts. Different people bring different capabilities like medical training, mechanical skills, communication abilities, or leadership experience that benefit everyone when properly organized. Skill development becomes more valuable than equipment accumulation because you can learn first aid, basic mechanical repair, food preservation, and other practical skills that don't break, get stolen, or run out of batteries like equipment does. Community integration helps establish your position as a valuable neighbor rather than a potential threat. Participating in neighborhood activities, volunteering for community projects, and building positive relationships before you need them ensures that known, trusted neighbors receive cooperation during emergencies, while strangers generate suspicion and hostility. Intelligence gathering requires systematic attention to local conditions and threats, where you monitor local crime patterns, understand gang territories and activities, and know which areas become problematic during normal times. This information helps predict where problems might develop during larger disruptions. Resource diversification prevents single-point failures in your preparation strategy by maintaining food sources, water supply, communication methods, and transportation options that provide redundancy when individual systems fail. You should avoid putting all your resources in one location or depending on single solutions that could be compromised or destroyed. Testing and validation of your preparations reveals weaknesses before you depend on them. So practice power outages by turning off your main breaker and living on backup systems. Test communication plans during normal times to identify problems, and try cooking with emergency stoves and eating stored foods regularly. Recovery planning helps transition from emergency mode to normal operations when situations stabilize. Understanding what infrastructure needs to be rebuilt, what services need to be restored, and how to reconnect.
And y'all know what? Y'all know I can't do too much intellectual stuff without jamming. We got to jam. I think y'all know the rest anyway. Be prepared, so you're gonna have to get prepared. You don't know the right to that.
about the FBI, CIA, LAPD of the USA. Asking why our list talking about that system. Let us take a look and see what's up today. That's wrong. Can we get along? Down by the man who's check he paid. We stay here, it's just a drop in the bucket full of wicked cops. No fire hose, just wash that blood away.
Let me put it like this. Y'all should have known he was trying to be slick when he did the Alien Enemies Act. See, that's a wartime act, you know. So by him claiming that Alien Enemies Act, that's all he needed to get this martial law going. You know what I'm saying? So, if you ain't aware, you better not have to ask somebody, because I'm here to tell you.
Barry's coming up on exit and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it is about to go down.
Being trampled upon, a world which will grow not less, but more merciless as it refines itself. Progress in our world will be progress towards more pain. The whole civilizations claimed they were founded on love or justice. Ours is founded upon hatred. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph, and self-abasement. Everything else we shall destroy. Everything. We have cut the links between parent and child, between man and man, and between man and woman. There will be no loyalty towards the party. There will be no love except for the love of big brother. There will be no laughter except the laugh of triumph over a defeated enemy. There will be no art, no literature, no science. When we are omnipotent, we shall have no more need of science. There will be no distinction between beauty and ugliness. There will be no curiosity, no enjoyment of the process of life. All competing pleasures will be destroyed, but always, do not forget this, always there will be the intoxication of power, constantly increasing and constantly growing subtler. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling upon an enemy who is helpless. You want to see a picture of the future?
Yeah. Yeah.
This amazing device.
And they are showing us what's about to happen. And I mean, who am I to say when they can say it for themselves, right?
Monday on whether the White House violated a court order by deporting migrants without proper court hearings. The Trump administration claims it has authority to do so under the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 because the individuals in question were Venezuelan gang members. As the U.S. government argues that its use of this 18th century law is valid, we wanted to take a closer look at why Congress passed it in the first place. So it goes back to concerns over a possible war with France in 1798. The Alien Enemies Act was created to make sure the president had the power to imprison or deport immigrants who might sympathize with the French. While a full-out war with France didn't happen, the law remained on the books. It's only been used 3 times, and in each case to target nationals from countries the U.S. was in and officially declared war with. During the War of 1812, it was used against British nationals. During World War I, President Woodrow Wilson used it as justification to arrest and investigate more than 10,000 German nationals and German Austrians. And once the Second World War began, President Roosevelt used it to create the highly controversial Japanese internment camps, which held approximately 120,000 people with Japanese ancestry for 4 years, the majority of whom were U.S. citizens. According to the law's text, it can only be invoked when a foreign government threatens an invasion or predatory incursion, like the raid led by Benedict Arnold for the British in 1781. What's at question in the Trump administration's usage is if the threat of a predatory incursion can be applied to certain cartels to combat unlawful migration and narcotics trafficking. The court will decide if this law, which was designed to enhance the president's wartime powers, can be used in a non-congressionally declared war.
And that's why I'm talking about, well, we talking about the martial law, because see, it's a chess game, not checkers. So well, it could be checkers too. You know what I'm saying? You'd be like, hey, look, he's getting ready to set you up right there, so he can for a double jump, maybe even a triple jump if you're not careful. So, and with that said, I'll just let them keep on putting their own foot in their own mouth. Isn't that better? Let them tell it like it is, you know. That way we ain't giving no false news. We just let them
to use the Alien Enemies Act to detain and deport millions of immigrants. It's a 200-year-old wartime law that's only been used 3 times, and always during a declared war. The Alien Enemies Act was last used during World War II to imprison tens of thousands of innocent people of Japanese, German, and Italian ancestry who hadn't obtained U.S. citizenship. No president since then has even considered reviving the Alien Enemies Act. Until now.
I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798.
President Trump has said he'd proclaim a so-called migrant invasion. This could unlock the Alien Enemies Act's vast detention and deportation powers, allowing him to round up anyone from those countries who hasn't obtained U.S. citizenship, even if they're here legally, even if they have a green card. He could deport them without hearings, appeals, or any opportunity to defend themselves. It's impossible to instantly deport that many people. They would likely be held in detention camps for days, weeks, or longer. Targeted immigrants might have children born in this country who are U.S. citizens. These parents would face a terrible choice. They could have their U.S. citizen children placed in detention camps, waiting to be deported to a country they've never known, or their family could be ripped apart. But none of this is inevitable. What Trump is planning to do is not just contrary to American values, it's illegal. The Alien Enemies Act can only be used in wartime. And discriminating against immigrants based on their place of birth or ancestry violates constitutional rights. Courts have the power to stop this, and so does Congress. Let's hope they do their jobs and stand up for the Constitution and the rule of law.
Yep, right there at the bottom of the screen, the Alien Enemies Act. Now, they was fighting him in court over it for a minute.
And cookbook author.
You know, he got his way. He always seemed to get his way, even when they don't give him his way, he get his way.
Invokes the act rather than the 12 to 24 hours it had been given. Earlier,
from the top. All right.
A federal judge in Pennsylvania ruled in favor of the Trump administration Tuesday over its use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport some Venezuelan migrants. Trump-appointed Judge Stephanie Haynes said the president may use the 18th century wartime law to remove Venezuelans older than 14 who are accused Tren de Aragua gang members, but with a caveat. She ruled the administration must give 21 days notice to potential deportees if it invokes the act, rather than the 12 to 24 hours it had been given. Earlier this month, federal judges in New York, Colorado, and Texas ruled against the Trump administration's use of the act. They said the move is illegal because the government hasn't provided sufficient evidence of an invasion or predatory incursion required under the law. CBS News immigration and politics reporter Prima.
Like I said, we only got a little bit of time.
The Supreme Court has lifted a federal judge's order that blocked the Trump administration from using a centuries-old wartime law called the Alien Enemies Act to deport migrants to El Salvador. CBS News Department of Justice reporter Jake Rosen joins us on the phone. Jake, explain to us what the Supreme Court decided, and does this mean those flights can continue?
Right, Lindsay. So this means that Judge Boasberg's order that blocked the future use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport alleged Tren de Aragua gang members can continue. So there were about 200 to 300, according to court filings, people out there in the United States, either in government custody or that the government is aware of, that they have wanted to deport. Some of them have been deported. The administration has touted through other immigration measures, but not everyone has been deported yet. So they're allowed to use that. But this case was really not the big win that the Trump administration has been saying and touting on social media that it is. It kind of was on two different fronts. On one front, it says that any challenges to where people are being detained and to get people free from potential deportation efforts and to have their, cases adjudicated, those cases need to be done actually where they're being detained. Like in Louisiana, which has been where so many of these people have been held, or in Texas. They can't just be brought to Washington, D.C. like we've seen in this big case involving the ACLU. In addition to that, it also requires that there be some kind of due process and of reading someone their rights and giving someone notice that they're about to be deported, which has not happened. And the Trump administration has argued against that, saying that they actually don't need to do any of that. So in some ways, this is a victory for the attorneys who brought this case in the first place, because everyone, all 9 Supreme Court justices, as well as the appeals panel that overheard this case a couple of weeks ago, agreed that there needs to be some kind of adjudication, that the government, as we've reported on all day, Lindsay, needs to put some kind of check and balance in place to make sure that people who claim that they're not Tren de Aragua gang members can actually prove that in a court.
All right, Jake Rosen, thank you.
Y'all
The
hear
Trump
that?
administration has invoked the Wartime Alien Enemies Act to deport hundreds of alleged members of a Venezuelan gang to El Salvador. The deportations were announced after a judge had temporarily blocked the effort on Saturday, raising questions over the legality of the move.
There's debate now about whether there was a plane in the air that should have been turned around based on the judge's order that was not turned around. Went on after the judge verbally issued that order. The government has been arguing that there was a period of time between when the words came out of the judge's mouth and when a written order was filed. Based on the written order, they say it didn't violate the judge's order. That'll be debated in court for some time. He was asked directly, did the administration violate a court order?
I don't know. You have to speak to the person. I can tell you this: these were bad people. That was a bad group of, as I say, operators. That was a bad group. When you look at them and you look at the crimes that they've committed, you take a look. You don't get any tougher. You don't get worse than that.
Well, there you go.
We've got the answers.
Plenty of reason to celebrate.
We're getting you ready. This is
Yep. From your commanding thief.
Trump administration has invoked the Wartime Alien Enemies Act to.
Yep. There you go. And y'all know what that means. That's a good thing.
Hey, y'all. Listen, last night I was out with the cats in the van, and we were having a good time. We had this little blackjack game going on. You know what I mean? And I somehow got lucky. And every time I tried to leave, they kept yelling at me. They want to get their money back. So I stayed there until I had all of it. And you know, friend, I was so excited. I just left there and I started whistling to myself. Oh man, I'm thinking when I get home, my woman gonna be so glad to see me. I know she gonna open the door and she gonna open her arms. And I know she gonna I was wrong as hell. I tell you that now. She was waiting on me all right in the middle of the living room floor. I couldn't believe what was happening. The woman went crazy. She stopped yelling and screaming at me, talking about it. Don't you come back, boy, no more, no more, no more. Yeah. Don't you come back. I didn't quite understand it first, you know what I mean? Yeah. Don't you come back, boy, no more, no more, no more. Don't you come back. Oh, woman, don't treat me so mean. You're the meanest old woman that I've ever seen. I guess she be you say so. I'm gonna have to take my thing and go.
I'm just playing this to put a smile on y'all face before we keep on digging it into the mud, because this is almost like, you know, bad dog, keep on pooping on the goddamn rug. And what you gotta do, you gotta take the nose, you gotta put the nose in the poop, and then spank them over there behind with newspaper, with a little light newspaper, not no rolled up Washington Post or nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like a flyer or something. You know, you can use a handful of mail. That'll work. But in the meantime, between time, let's play this. Don't you come back, boy, no more, no more, no more. Don't you come back. That didn't get my analogy. We giving it the raw truth on this joint. If you disagree, Joe, feel free to chime on in. But in the meantime, in between time, let's play this joint. Hit the road, don't you come back, boy, no more, no more, no more, don't you come back. Listen, baby, don't treat me this way. I'll be back on my feet someday.
Don't care if you do, cause it's understood. You ain't got no money, you just ain't no
Oh, yes, you do. That's so. I'm gonna have to take my things and go.
That's right.
Okay.
Don't you come back, boy, no more, no more, no more.
Oh, baby.
Don't you come back.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby.
Don't you come back, no more, no more, no more, no more.
Oh, mama.
Don't you come back.
What you say?
Don't you come back.
You can't mean that.
Don't you come back.
After all I sacrificed.
Don't you come back.
After all you put me through.
Don't you come back.
You will have the nerve to tell me to my face.
Come back.
You're making me mad now, woman.
Don't you come back.
I don't think you know who you're talking to.
Don't you come back.
I don't have to take that kind of talk from nobody.
Don't you come back.
Say what?
Don't you come
Yeah,
back.
I know it's your house, but there's no reason for you to keep telling me that.
Come back.
Say what?
Don't you come
I
back.
dare you to say it again.
Don't you come back.
What?
Don't you come back.
How you jive me?
Don't you come back.
Great Charles, hit the road, Jack. Yeah. And yeah, I just thought, you know, while we putting our nose in the doo-doo, let's keep it lively. You know what I'm saying? But before we do too much of that, let's go back to where we was at, because should we not
influenced the 2016 election through a hush money payment to an adult film star. Shortly after the verdicts, the former president called the trial rigged and disgraceful. Fox's Connor Hansen.
I think we need to take that from the top, don't y'all?
Former President Donald Trump is now a convicted felon. He is the first ever former U.S. president to be convicted of a crime. This afternoon, a jury in New York City determined he conducted business fraud in a scheme to illegally influence.
Please me to ask. This was before he won the election. He was found guilty. What? And y'all still voted for him anyway. He even said it himself that he could shoot somebody in the middle of Times Square and wouldn't do a day and wouldn't lose.
Felon. He is the first ever former U.S. president to be convicted of a crime. This afternoon, a jury in New York City determined he conducted business fraud in a scheme to illegally influence the 2016 election through a hush money payment to an adult film star. Shortly after the verdict, the former president called the trial rigged and disgraceful. Fox's Connor Hansen reports from New York.
With today's verdict, former President Donald Trump was not only convicted on 34 felony counts, he also made history, becoming the first former U.S. president.
4 felony counts? Nah, he didn't just become the first president in history. He became the first person that I ever heard of convicted of 30, what? Let's play it black. 30-something felony convictions and walking free with no monitor on the ankle. And actually, he might have an ankle monitor. You never know.
From New York.
With today's verdict, former President Donald Trump was not only convicted on 34 felony counts, he also made history, becoming the first former U.S. president to be convicted of a crime.
This was a rigged, disgraceful trial.
Minutes after 12 jurors found Donald Trump guilty on all 34 counts, the former president delivering a message to the American people.
It's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution.
Trump, who was indicted in connection with a hush money payment to an adult film star ahead of the 2016 presidential election, now faces a maximum sentence of 4 years in prison.
There were people who clearly were thrilled by the result, and there were people that will be very sad by it. I was saddened to watch it. I disagree with this verdict.
Jurors reaching their...
Instead of 4 years in prison, he's some kind of way to flip the script and got 4 years in the White House. Hold up. Play it again.
People who clearly were thrilled by the result, and there were people that will be very sad by it. I was saddened to watch it. I disagree with this verdict.
Jurors reaching their conclusion after asking the judge overseeing the trial to review testimony from David Pecker and Michael Cohen, as well as directions guiding deliberations.
While this defendant may be unlike any other in American history, we arrived at this trial and ultimately today at this verdict in the same manner as every other case that comes to the courtroom doors, by following the facts and the law and doing so without fear or favor.
Despite the verdict, neither the conviction nor any sentence prevents Trump from running for president.
The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here.
Trump's sentencing was set for July 11th. That's just 4 days before the start of the Republican National Convention. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox 4 News.
Governor Greg Abbott is among the Trump supporters sharing reaction. He posted online, "This was a sham show trial. The kangaroo court will never stand on appeal. Americans deserve better than a sitting U.S. president weaponizing our justice system against a political opponent, all to win an election. We must fire Joe Biden in November." Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton posting on X, "From the beginning of this sham trial, I stood by President Trump, and my support for him is stronger than ever. As Attorney General of Texas, I will unleash every tool at my disposal to fight this blatant corruption and political persecution spewing from New York and the Biden administration." President Biden did not directly react to the verdict, though he did post on X, on his personal account, "There's only one way to keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office, at the ballot box," with a link to donate to his campaign. A statement from his campaign's communications director offered the same sentiment.
3 hours was all it took to turn your life around. Would you do it? Blood Flow 7 begins.
They always try to slip on in, but
Legally influenced the 2000.
Yep, he's the first president in history
And his victory caps one of the longest general elect.
to be a convicted felon. And the first person that I ever heard of to be convicted of that many felonies. So he's supposed to got 4 years. And who the hell did he snitch on? I think he snitched on Epstein, but now the Epstein files are snitching back, or something like that.
Republican Donald Trump has won the 2024 presidential election, becoming the first convicted felon elected to the nation's highest office. He is also the first former president since Grover Cleveland to return to the White House after being voted out of the job. The 78-year-old is the oldest person in U.S. history to be elected president, and his victory caps one of the longest general election campaigns ever, which included 2 assassination attempts. Here's what Trump has said he would do in his second term.
On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history.
A central campaign promise was deporting millions of migrants, which would likely trigger legal challenges. He has said he will employ the National Guard and, if necessary, federal troops as part of the effort.
If I run this country, if I'm going to be president of this country, I'm going to put a 100, 200, 2,000% tariff.
Trump has floated the idea of tariffs on all goods imported into the U.S., targeting China in particular. Critics say that would lead to higher prices for American consumers and global economic instability.
Well, we already know that, and he already doing that. So let's keep it moving.
Have a defendant convicted of 34 felony convictions and face no jail time, no penalties, no fines.
Exactly what I was saying. Yeah, well, I'm not how great minds think alike, and he happened to be thinking like me.
President-elect Donald Trump was sentenced today in New York City, months after a New York jury found him guilty of 34 felony counts, falsifying business documents to cover up an extramarital affair. But Judge Juan Merchan granted the
found on that with a stripper, Stormy Daniels, ex-porn star stripper Stormy Daniels. He was trying to cover up the affair that he had with her with hush money, but it just wasn't enough to keep her mouth closed, if you know what I'm saying.
President-elect what's called an unconditional discharge, a sentence.
Oh, come on now, they just lead me into more jokes. Come on, let's hear that again. That's worth hearing.
Affirms he is a convicted felon, but faces no further penalties, fines, or any time in jail. Our William Brangham was in court in New York this morning and joins us now. So, William, tell us a little bit more about this unconditional discharge. How did Judge Juan Merchan explain his rationale for what some are calling a lenient sentence?
She knows what she's doing.
I mean, on one hand, this wasn't a surprise. The judge had telegraphed this in a memo earlier. But yes, this is a relatively rare situation to have a defendant convicted of 34 felony convictions and face no jail time, no penalties, no fines, no probation. Merchan, in describing today, said that on one hand, this was a trial that was very ordinary. It unfolded in an ordinary way. Jury was selected. The lawyers gave their arguments. Witnesses were heard. A verdict was reached. But he said, because of the defendant, this was an extraordinary trial, and sentencing him would be the same. Merchan said that if Donald Trump had been a regular citizen, a regular defendant, that he would have likely have faced much harsher punishment for those crimes. But because Donald Trump is about to become president of the United States again, that comes with enormous protections, the judge said. Those are granted by the Constitution, many other courts, and most recently interpreted again by the Supreme Court last year. So Merchan argued this was the only course he could really take. But he did say those protections given to the president do not excuse the underlying crime. Let's hear a little bit of what he said today.
To be clear, the protections afforded the office of the president are not a mitigating factor. They do not reduce the seriousness of the crime or justify its commission in any way. The protections are, however, a legal mandate, which pursuant to the rule of law, this court must respect and follow.
It's an interesting clarification there.
Let me clarify that, because the way he clarified it, man, we'll never know. What he's trying to say is he's an ex-president. He could shoot you in the middle of Times Square and wouldn't do a day because of the presidential kiss my Ass Club. It's sort of like Vince McMahon's Kiss My Ass Club, but different. You know, you don't have to actually bend down and pucker up and kiss his ass, unless, of course, he got you at gunpoint. But in other words, if you're a federal judge and you want to keep your position, you're pretty much gonna kiss his ass and he going free today. You're like, what happened here? The ex-president just shot 3 people in a crowd. Say, what did they do to him? Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
And we should note that Mr. Trump wasn't in the courtroom today. The judge had given him the option.
Man, failure to appear. He's like, man, I wish I was the judge. He'd be like, a black judge would have been like, man, put a bench warrant out for him. He ain't appear. Failure to appear. He'd be like, man, he'd be getting a bench warrant at the White House. They'd be dragging his ass out and dragging him over to central booking somewhere to a holding cell and say, now, you ain't coming out of there till tomorrow morning when Judge Lightning presiding. Out in this mother jumping court.
Of dialing in remotely, but he was allowed to speak.
I only got 15 minutes. I got to get out of here. It's time for y'all to hit that Cash App.
And on the
Because I'll give you some serious info tonight. And just about every time I come on, I try anyway to give you what's going to help us, you know?
Heard. So what did he say?
That's right. Donald Trump.
How does it help to know that your president is a convicted felon before y'all put him on this John Wayne Stallion statue, you know, where he's sitting up aboard a golden stallion with a golden hat on his head? Man, come on, man. You're more like Jesse James.
Connected to the courtroom via video link from Mar-a-Lago, sitting next to his lawyer.
But that's just me. I don't agree either sides of the wings of the bird because I don't eat that damn bird. You know what I mean? That's more like a chicken hawk, you know. And the president is the middle of the bird. Whether you on the left or the right, it doesn't really matter because the black folks is always stuck in the goddamn middle. We're not part of your lefts. We're not part of your rights. All we part of is our civil rights. And don't trample on them because we will be coming back later for it. You know what I mean? Because they think he can sign a little waiver for the police to go crazy. See, the police take that waiver and go crazy, and then later on, Trump ain't in office, and then they got to go ahead and go to court for it. And I hope they get put in a daggone cell with Ray Ray and them that they had put in there in the first place that never liked them.
And Trump said what he has always said about this case, that this was a political witch hunt. It was a completely rigged case against him. He said he is completely innocent of the charges, which he argues are completely bogus. He denies he ever had a relationship with Stormy Daniels. He again falsely blamed collusion between these local prosecutors and the Department of Justice. He said, notably, that the voters had been the ultimate jury nationwide, and that they had looked at this case and all the other cases against him, and they said they vindicated him. Here's a little bit of what he had to say.
It's been a political witch hunt. It was done to damage my reputation so that I'd lose the election, and obviously that didn't work.
But William, even facing no penalties, no jail time, no fines, this isn't necessarily a day that Mr. Trump wanted to see happen or thought should happen. Isn't that right?
That's exactly right. He fought this in every legal avenue that he could, as is his right. He appealed it to this judge. He appealed it to an appeals court in New York. He even appealed it this week to the U.S. Supreme Court, which rejected it last night in a 5-4 vote. There was also this very unusual.
Yep. He got rejected all.
Do anything. Oh, you itchy buddy.
But we still, we got that gangster mentality where we're rooting for Humphrey Bogart, and We're rooting for the bad guy to get away sometime, you know. But that's only if it's one of us, because we done been yanked in when we was innocent too many times already. So this is all we gotta say about it. You know what I mean?
Non-violence in the face of the violence that we've been experiencing for the past 400 years is actually doing our people a disservice. In fact, it's a crime. It's a crime.
Pick up the drums.
All right. Yeah, yeah. All right. Pick up the drums. All right. Yeah, yeah. I don't own the rights to that, but yeah, let's get ready for Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. Yeah, man. But before we get too far gone, you got anything you want to throw on the people before we go anywhere, Joe? Are you still up in there? Uh-oh, I'm on here by myself. Well, I might have to do the replay later on because for some reason, it keeps putting it on private mode. That's why I don't like coming on the StreamYard. I usually just come straight through the FB, but that don't put it on all the other channels, like the subscribe to my YouTube channel too. All right, Black Power, let's jam on out of here. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. Before we do that, let's do this.
Murph tells me you're in publishing, telephone sales, and matrimonial services?
Yes, we are.
Just what is it that you do exactly?
I'm 18 years old, I'm blonde, 36, 24, 36, and my name is Bambi.
If you need a little love, call on me. Oh, yeah. If you want some kissing, call me, baby. All you got to do, I'll be right here.
Oh, yeah. Pick up the telephone, baby. And call Black Lightning. We'll be right there. To the rescue. Black Power.
Mercy. And if you want some kissing, call on me, baby. All you got to do,
let's get to the closest Black revolutionary spot that you can get to. As long as it's not one that's gonna okie doke. You gotta do the right thing all the time. Black Power. And that's what we'll be getting done over here.
A little bit like I hope that you understand. Oh, yeah. You can call on me. Yeah. If you want some of my tears, call on me. You better think you can. No more lonely nights. Will you be alone? All you got to do is call me on the telephone, and I